and he said, "Hey man, this is you, right?" And I was like, oh no. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And then another friend texted me the next day, and then they all start talking.
Hey, what's up, Ethan? How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I appreciate you doing this.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. My microphones sound okay. I'm kind of testing a new setup here.
Yeah, I know it sounds great.
Awesome. Perfect. Ugh.
Cool. Well, I'm Adam, and this is about you, your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new song Why Am I Not Better? And of course the
Awesome.
success of Bouquet and all that stuff.
Right on. Sounds great, Adam. I'm Ethan.
Sweet.
Nice to
Brad, I
meet you,
did
dude.
read, yeah, nice to meet you as well. I did read you're from Dallas area, is that correct?
Dallas. Yeah, you got it.
Talk to me about that a little bit. What part?
I'm a little bit north of Dallas, in the like Plano area. It's
No way. The only thing I know about Dallas is Plano because my mom's side of the family basically moved there.
oh,
Like all of
awesome.
them kind of migrated there after they were older and everything. It's pretty
Right
funny.
on. Yeah, great place to live. But yeah, born and raised, literally haven't left this area since the day I was born. So just good place. Good place. It's a good balance
Sure.
of city life, quiet life. I love it. I love it out
Very,
here.
very cool. Very cool. Yeah. I remember going out there. I used to skateboard a lot and going out there in the summer and being like so bummed out because it was like 9 million degrees outside. You
Dude,
could skate for
I
like 15 minutes and then it would be way too
skating has
much.
been my number one hobby for the last like 2 years. I thought I broke my hand like a week ago. Luckily, I
Oh,
just bruised it
really?
really bad. But yeah, I've been skating so much, and this area sucks for skating, especially in the
There was like,
summer. Like
yeah, it was brutal. And well,
it's
because your schools
bad.
are inside too. Like, and I grew up in San Diego in California, and the schools were outside. So, like,
Wow,
going there and like all the stuff we used to, skate in the school, like jump the fence, and they had the best planners and everything.
that's
And then
awesome.
going there being like, oh, there's like nothing here except for like this big asphalt parking lot or like,
Yeah,
and it's way hot. And
exactly.
there was a skate park though we went to when I was there and it was indoor and then half like there's a little bit that was kind of outdoor in like this garage. I don't even
Oh,
it's probably not
crazy.
even there anymore. And it
I'm
was
gonna have to try to find that if it
25 years
is.
ago. Yeah, I mean, it was so long ago that I can't even remember, but yeah, we used to go to Plano every couple of years.
Cool. Right on.
So well, you grew up there. How did you get into music?
Oh man. So it's funny. I never really planned on doing music. It was
Okay.
never really like like okay. So my entire life I've loved music, right?
Hmm.
From I've been playing piano since I was 4 years old.
Wow.
Um, I mean, it was always such a like integral part of my life, whether it was listening to music, playing music, all that. But nothing in my head ever really clicked. Like, yeah, I was gonna do music because it seemed like such an impossible goal in a way. It was one of
Mhm.
those things like that and acting where you tell people that you want to do it and you're kind of shot down. It's like, oh, it's come on, what are
Right.
the chances, right?
Sure, sure.
And so it never really was on the forefront of my mind, but probably starting from when I was 13 or 14, I started writing original pieces on the piano just for fun.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until I was probably 17, so a little over 2 years ago, um, that I started writing lyrics to go with these compositions. And there was one day I was playing one of these songs in my room, this room right here, actually. And my dad walked by. He walked by my room, and he peeked his head and he goes, "Hey man, did you write that?" I was like, "Yeah, I wrote that. Kind of no big deal. I didn't think anything of it." He was like, "Dude, you should record that. Like, I think you've got something here."
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, oh, okay. And so it was the song it's called Sunset off of my first album. And it's one of the three songs that I've sung in. So he had no idea about the poetry part of it. So then I was like, well, I got a few other
Hmm.
songs. And so I played him Snow Globe, I played him Bouquet, and he was just like, yeah, you've got to do this. So I kind of just took the ball, I ran with it. I didn't expect anything of it. And then literally just one thing led to the next. A lot of people connected with it. A lot of people really found something within the music. And before I knew it, it was a full-time career thing just out of nowhere. It was so crazy how quick life moved.
That's so crazy. That was your dad musical at all? I mean, if just pick up piano at 4, your
Yeah,
parents would have had to
so
put you in that or push you towards that.
he's always been musical. He's never done it as a career.
Mhm.
Back when he was, in his 20s, he used to like play with a band, but other than that, he does like audio post and stuff like that, for podcasts, TV shows, that kind of thing.
No, cool.
Um, so he's actually my producer, which is really, really nice. Even though he's never done it on a professional level, he's done it as a hobby. And
Uh-huh.
so there was this beautiful level of connection between me and him. We were always close, but this bond over music has brought us so much closer over the years because he was like, all right, let's record. He was like, let me whip out my mic that I used to record on when I was 20
Oh,
something, and we can
wow.
and we can start some drafts, and so we were able to kind of just sit down with an old keyboard that he had and a microphone and start doing some drafts. And then once we realized, oh shit, like we have something here, then we started adding to the setup, buying more things, kind of creating this studio space for us. um so I'm
Wow.
at the end of the day, man, I got lucky. That's more than anything. I mean, I got super lucky, and that doesn't go over my head. Every day I'm so thankful because everything just lined up, how it needed to. And
Hmm.
it's been incredible. It really has been.
That's so cool. So your dad, like, he does like post audio production. He's like editing audio after that's been recorded and everything else.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
he's
So
done a few spots for like commercials,
right.
podcasts, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. So then you come and he's like recording you. So now it's like, okay, now I can, engineer a session with my son and then I go through and probably produce it or
Mhm.
edit it quite a bit there as well. That's cool. So yeah, what a thing to bond with your dad on so many years later.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. I gotta say, it wasn't always the most comfortable thing. There were a few songs that were super uncomfortable to record, and I just wanted to leave the moment I recorded them.
Oh, I was gonna ask, yeah, being vulnerable in front of your dad, right? And like he
Yeah,
instead of just presenting the song or handing him like a recording of it, it's like he's there, you're doing multiple takes. He's gonna probably ask you about the lyrics. And
yeah.
yeah, okay. So talk to me about that a little bit.
I mean, that created a whole new level of vulnerability, and it became a bit of a challenge.
Hmm.
I was once again lucky to have a open and accepting dad, but at the same time, um, I came across this challenge where we would go into record in the studio, and I would find myself kind of questioning the songs and being like, do I really want to say these things
Hmm.
in front of my own father? Because at the end of the day, I didn't want to worry him. That was my biggest concern. I didn't want to worry him. And so my ring light just turned off. That's crazy. There we go.
Okay.
I
Oh,
got
it was it got
uh,
very moody there for a second.
interesting. Yeah, it's like I'm like, yeah, let me talk about this serious thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Then we had to get really serious.
hold on. Technical issues. 2 seconds. I'll hop right back into that thought in a second. Seamless transition. My ring light just straight die on me in the middle of this? That'd be crazy. Uh, hold on.
No, take your time, dude.
It's wild. I've never had issues with this thing. It's pretty cheap, but man, that's wild. I may have to continue with the moody lighting if this
Oh,
shuts off again. We'll see. I don't trust it. I don't trust it
all
at all.
good. No
We'll try.
worries.
We'll try. We'll try.
We'll go with it. We'll just roll with it. Doesn't matter.
Right on.
People
All
will see
right.
what you look like right now for the first, few minutes, and then
Exactly.
it'll just get moody, and that's cool.
Nothing wrong with it. Okay. Picking back up.
Uh
So,
huh.
um, yeah. So there was another layer added to it, and um, going into the second album, where there were a couple of the song the lyrical elements were heavy.
Hmm.
There were songs such as Dreams, where I pretty much straight up just talked about a battle with suicidal thoughts and, you know, things such as self-harm, which I try to be very open about in my music because those are real things that real people struggle with. But there was a concern, and, you know, I didn't want my dad to be worried about me. So it eventually came down to I had to sit down with him. All right, there's the moody lighting. I had to sit
Oh,
down with
good.
him and I had to say, listen, I understand that these lyrics may be concerning, but I need you to understand that, you know, this is having an impact. And, you know, these are real things I've struggled with. You know, I was like, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but this is more good than bad. You know, this helps me. This
Mhm.
helps other people. And so it's still uncomfortable, but we have this mutual understanding of this is how it has to be in a way. You know, this is for the better at the end of the day. And, you know, there have been a few songs that I've put off recording just because of how heavy they are. But we have kind of broken through that barrier in a way.
Mhm.
And it all came down to just, you know, honest communication, being like, listen, I get that you're probably going to be concerned about this, but it's part of the art and it's part of what I do, and we're just gonna have to come to terms with that at the end of the day.
Mhm. Would you say, well, I've got a few questions here. So
Yeah,
first
for sure.
question is, when you confide in your dad with those thoughts in the lyrics to these
Mhm.
songs, was he like, we need to get you, you know, a psychiatrist, we should put you up there? Like, was that even like was that the first thing he thought, or he just kind of listened to you?
Right.
And how did that like, yeah,
Uh,
how did he react?
well, it's never been like we have to do this for you.
Okay.
It's been really nice though. He's always kind of had it's more of a is there anything more that I can do is how he came to it.
Okay.
Because I've been in and out of therapy for 2.5 years now.
Hmm.
Pretty much ever since I started doing music, I realized, wow, this is heavy shit. You know,
Hmm.
I need to have another form of processing that isn't just music. Um, and so what it came down to, I mean, it's really been a blessing. He just every few months almost would kind of check in and be like, hey, like, is this doing enough? Are you good? Um, because I mean, a lot of these songs, they are concerning, and I understand that. You know, I understand that the topics are real, and hearing somebody talk about them is not it's not something to be taken lightly. And he's never taken it lightly. And
Hmm.
so yeah, it was always left up to me, of course, because, you know, pretty much the moment I turned 18 and became an adult was hands off. But it was always a checking in and being like, are you getting the help that you needed? And the answer was always yes, from me.
Okay. So yeah, that's nice to know. Like, it's good to hear, like, him coming to you and just checking in every once in a while, like, hey, like,
Exactly.
you know,
And
you all
that
right? Okay.
that's just what I needed. Anytime I was struggling with something, it was always nice to kind of be like, okay, like this guy's, you know, he's got my back.
Hmm. With that as well, like those songs that you talked about, not, you know, being able to record yet, or you talk about in front of,
Mhm.
you know, if you were in a studio with a producer that wasn't your dad, would that be something that you'd be willing to share, or is it something that you're like, I don't even want him to hear him yet? Like, we need to get there.
I think I would be. I don't know, I think I would share it.
Really?
Yeah, I think, and I'll always live by this. So when I was in high school, I did public speaking a lot. I was in speech and debate,
Oh,
and
cool.
that's something that I totally plan to do in the future. I love public speaking. But something that I observed is it is infinitely easier to talk to a room full of 200 strangers than it is to talk to a room of 10 close friends and family. It
Hmm.
is 1 million times easier to talk to people that you don't know and that you won't see again. Um, you don't worry about judgment. You don't worry about what they think as much. You know, it's just all in every aspect. It is easier. I think that concept kind of applies. Um, you know, because if I had a producer who was a stranger, they would be that. They would be a stranger, and I would be able to not see them at the end of the day. I would leave the session, wash my hands of it, and then come back for the next one. You know, restart. However, um, I I would be missing a layer of creative intimacy that I don't think I could find in a stranger. Um, because I care about this music, which makes my dad care about this music. And so we have this awesome creative flow where I mean, it doesn't matter what the song is at this point. You know, we've overcome the barriers with that, but he's got this drive because he sees that within me to make these songs as beautiful and as creative and as expressive as possible.
Mhm.
Um, and I really don't think I could find that within a stranger. And so it's all a balance, really, at the end of the day, where it's like, although yes, it can be uncomfortable at times,
Mhm.
it's uncomfortable for a good reason. You know, all the best things in life are often uncomfortable. You know, some of the best things are on the other side of fear or failure or uncomfortableness.
Mhm.
Um, and so, yeah, there really is a balance to it. It's like, okay, although this is a little bit uncomfortable, I know that he is going to care. He's going to put his all into this because he sees how much I care. And so,
Sure. You feel like maybe
yeah.
you wouldn't get the same reward with if you like, yeah, you'd be able to get the song out, but
Mhm.
maybe it wouldn't be as good because there's not the connection
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, that
And
makes a lot of sense.
in a weird way, I think I think that little bit of hesitation that I feel can almost make the recordings feel more real.
Mhm.
Because in the same way I would be hesitant to talk about these feelings with a friend, in the way that I'm hesitant to record them, it almost makes it more genuine in a weird way, if,
Mhm.
if you will.
No, for sure. Yeah, you're definitely being even more vulnerable. It probably comes across in the recording. Like
Hmm.
not like you're not only being vulnerable to whoever, the producer may be or just in general people hearing the lyrics to your songs, but like now you've got to, say these things and present the song to your parent who's going to be
Right.
listening to them directly and yeah, it just adds it like you said a whole nother layer of like
Hmm.
vulnerability between the recording process.
Yeah, definitely.
I find it interesting because you're the first person I've heard because I bring this up a lot. That said, you'd much rather talk to a room full of 200 strangers than 10 people that are your peers. Which I always find it funny when I've interviewed thousands of people, and what's interesting to me is a lot of people's story begins with the first time I ever played a show or played for people was like at my talent show or was
Hmm.
well, I played the high school blah blah blah, and I'm thinking like that to me is like the most terrifying thing ever because
Oh,
not only
it's
are you
so
playing to all
scary.
your
Yeah.
peers, but say, you've got to return to school the next day or finish class for the rest of the day. And you could either be the target, you could possibly be the target of everybody, right? If you screw up or
Right. Yeah.
that they could just make your life miserable for the next X amount of years. And to go
Hmm.
into like a coffee shop or a place that, you don't know anyone, then if you suck or screw up, it's like, well, see you guys later. I'm never going to see you again.
Exactly.
Which I always
Exactly.
just find is so crazy that people end up, that's the first show. Like, yeah, we did this talent show, but I mean, I guess it comes with where you can play, or it all
Yeah.
comes, I guess,
Wherever
back.
opportunity
Yeah,
arises,
you're
really.
right, exactly. But it's just so interesting that I haven't heard anyone bring it up that way.
Mm.
Um, but so tell me, you said just what a couple of years ago is when you started writing lyrics, but they're poems, right? It's like
Hmm.
music to poems. And was there a reason you decided to start writing poetry or writing these lyrics out? Like, what
Hmm.
made you decide to go, I should just try to write?
Right. So it's funny. I never liked poetry. All through high school. I took a few English classes. We'd get to the poetry section. I'd be rolling my eyes. I'm like, "Ugh, this is so boring. Oh my gosh, these 300-year-old poems. I mean, I'm fighting to stay awake during these, which is ironic. Then let's see, it was my senior year, I believe, 17, and I was driving home from school. I was listening to music, and a song by Hobo Johnson came on. Who I
I
don't know
love
if
Hobo
yeah,
Johnson.
okay, you
Yeah.
have heard of him,
Uh
awesome.
huh.
So yeah, he makes that rhythmic spoken word style
Yeah.
that really I have yet to find somebody else who does it quite like him. Um, but I heard this song. It was called Creve Core One. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's off of his first album, and it is this beautiful piece that combines literally just gentle piano with this super expressive emotional performance, where he's, from my understanding, talking about a relationship with a girl who is struggling with personal things, and she doesn't have time for this relationship, and he just wants to be there for her, but she won't quite let him in. And it's this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful story, and I think that is what interests me so much about it. I listened to it on repeat the whole way home, and every single time it felt like it was stabbing me in the chest every time. And I mean, I like was crying, and it was so powerful for whatever reason in that moment. I don't know if it was because I could relate to it at the time or what, but something just, it was the storytelling, it was the emotion, it was the delivery. It just sucked me in. And I mean, I was just completely entranced by it. It was just an incredible work of music, to me. And so I got home, and that night, I was really emotional. This was, I was going through a breakup at the time. It was my first breakup.
Mhm.
And so I sat down. I was feeling really upset, and I wrote Snow Globe, which, that was the first song that I ever properly wrote.
Wow.
Um, and at the time I felt like I was trapped within what I was feeling, and I couldn't get out, and it felt hopeless, as any angsty teen would.
Hmm.
Um, so I thought of this concept where I'm like, okay, I'm it's almost like I'm a little human trapped in a snow globe, and I'm being tossed around, and I don't have any control, and there's snow, and I'm just totally out of control. So then it went beyond the feelings of the breakup, and it went into feelings of isolation, and it went into feelings of not knowing where I'm going in life, and feeling lost and confused. And I just sat down, and for about 15 minutes I just wrote, and I just let it flow. And I finished. I stepped back. It's like, oh, wow. you know
Hmm.
that's really fucking cool. I've created this story, I've created this emotion. um and suddenly poetry wasn't so boring anymore. Suddenly it
Hmm.
had life, it was telling stories, it had emotions. And that opened up this whole new world within the art that I had never quite seen before. um and it brought something that I often felt a lot of lyrical singer songwriter songs were missing, and that's that
Hmm.
extra layer of emotion and that extra layer of vulnerability. um, I feel like so many songs almost distract from their real meaning, from the depth of the lyrics, with pretty noises. I feel like a lot of times when something is sung, unless it's done right, some of the meaning can be lost.
Hmm.
And so
No,
I found,
I can see what you're saying there,
yeah,
especially if it's
like,
like a hook, like a great hook, and then you're like, whoa, like I don't know. I've used Saves the Day as an example before, but like
mhm,
not I love that band, but like his lyrics are dark,
right,
and he's got a very poppy voice, and he sings it in a way where you're like, oh, this is like a sing along, and you're like,
right,
oh my God, he's talking about singing, like, at your funeral or whatever it is, or talking about,
right,
cutting his skin. Like it's just like he gets like dark, but the way he's presenting it is in such just
mhm,
like poppy, like, yeah, like way that
right,
it's not even hitting the way I'm sure it was when he was writing it out,
right.
obviously.
And don't get me wrong, there, that is a beautiful thing, and I think it's a whole different category of creative, and it's a whole different genre of emotional music. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to put myself on a high horse here. I don't
No, I
think
know
I've
you're not, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
yeah, I can see exactly where you're coming from with that.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I don't think I'm some messiah creating beautiful emotional music, but what I found within myself was, as I read through these poems or I listened to pieces by Hobo Johnson, just this emotional delivery that was, it was so raw. I mean, you couldn't get away from what you know he was saying. Hobo Johnson, for example, where it was just piano and just vocals. I mean, it slapped you in the face with what it meant. And
Mhm.
I thought that was such a beautiful thing. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And so when I got around to the actual process of recording, I kept that close to heart. And you can hear that throughout my whole first album. 90% of the songs are just piano and vocals, and that's how we
Right.
recorded them. I mean, we wouldn't even record the piano and vocals separately. It would be
Oh, it's just live.
me at the piano with the mic in front of me, and some of them were first, second take. I would be like,
Hmm.
there it is. All right. There we go.
Wow.
That communicated what I needed. So yeah, I just have fallen in love entirely with the emotional harshness almost of
Hmm.
the style of poetry.
It's amazing. And with that, like, I mean, being vulnerable, like people resonate with that, obviously. So it all did it start with the TikTok success? Like, was that when people were really like attracted to, oh, you
Hmm.
know, what's this guy got going on? Is that what drew people in?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think there was any kind of audience. That was one of the main reasons I never recorded, is because I was kind of like, I don't think anyone would care
Cares.
too
Yeah.
much. Yeah, you know. Um, it was
So tell me about that.
in a weird way, I was kind of almost embarrassed about the music, because it was so it was different and it was vulnerable. And at the time, you know, I'm a 17-year-old kid, and I'm thinking about social norms, you know, all sorts of
Sure.
stupid bullshit like that. But you know, at the
Well, if you
time, it
were
was
you still in high school then?
yeah,
When
yeah, yeah.
even when that
So
song hit real hard, like you were
mhm,
still in high school?
mhm.
Wow. I mean, that's
So
crazy. Okay. I have a
it
load
was a
more
bit
questions about this
yeah,
now.
it was a big deal at the time, though. I didn't want anyone to hear these songs.
Hmm.
Honestly, it was because it was so vulnerable. I was really scared. Um, but I started posting on TikTok just for fun, as most people do. And then I posted a clip of me singing somebody else's songs, and it got, you know, like 10 times the amount of likes that a normal video would. And
And were you doing this on your personal thing that all your classmates and peers knew about?
no, nobody knew about it
Okay.
at the time. I put it under Jewel Boy, which, you know, is my last name with boy
Yeah.
at the end of it. And
Well, that's still your handle, I think, on
yeah,
Instagram, right?
yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
But I didn't tell anyone, because once again, I was kind of embarrassed, and I was like, I'm just doing this for
Sure.
me
Yeah,
for
that's what I was
fun,
wondering
whatever.
if you were gonna if
Yeah.
that was something. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Uh, and then one day I recorded Snow Globe, and it sat in my drafts for a few days. I didn't post it because I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to like put this out there. Then one night I was about to go to bed, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just throw it up,
Hmm.
whatever, you know. Woke up the next morning, I had like 80,000 likes. And
Oh my
the most
gosh.
likes I'd ever gotten on a video before was like 2,000 most. And so I was just like,
I mean,
oh
2000 is a
shit.
lot, but 80,000,
I
that's
was like,
crazy.
oh my God. I'm like, I'm being perceived. You know, there's people in the comments that they have things to say about my emotions. And I was so overwhelmed. I went to school the next day, and I kind of felt like I was floating. It was all I could think about. I was just like, this is crazy. So a
Oh my gosh. How many
couple of
so
weeks go
real quick,
by.
so that's
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and you're probably not sharing this with anyone, right? Or are you like, yo,
Uh-uh.
like I have 80,000, it's just nothing.
Didn't say a thing. Didn't
You
say
just
a
got to
thing.
keep it in. Okay.
Uh, then yeah, a few weeks go by, um, and I'm like, maybe, you know, I'll post another. Why not? And so I record Bouquet, and man, I did like 20 takes, because I just, you know, at
You
that
wanted to
point,
get it right this time. You're like, okay,
exactly,
people are paying
exactly. At
attention.
that point, you realize you're being perceived, and I'm like, wait, this might matter a little bit.
Hmm.
And I'm so frustrated. I just can't get it right. You know, I can't get it right.
Hmm.
What I didn't know at the time is there is no right or wrong within creating things. But at the time, I was really worried about getting it right. And
Sure.
so, man, I must have recorded that 2 dozen times at least. And after, you know, fucking 2 hours of trying to get the right take, I give up. And then it's another last minute decision. I'm like, whatever, I'll just post this last draft. I'll just throw it up there.
Hmm.
Throw it up there, go to sleep. Same thing. Next morning, I wake up, except this time it's almost a million likes overnight. I mean,
Oh,
this
wow.
thing, I still have never had a video replicate that level of success, not even close. I mean, it literally is it's insane how much that video took off. And I'm looking at 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 comments of people having something to say about this super close, intimate, emotional thing that I've written. And that was one of the craziest feelings. I mean, I just the dopamine rush,
Oh,
and
dude, I can't even
mixed
imagine.
mixed with the terror, mixed with, I mean, just all these different feelings. I mean, I was just so overwhelmed. Only person I told about was my parents. That was the only person.
So you're like, oh my gosh, this hit. I mean, this has a million likes. Like, do you
Yeah,
even like at that point? You're like, oh my gosh, I've got to what move this. How do you capitalize on? I mean, that's a bad word to use, but I mean, like, how do you now go? Okay, like I have this audience. People are liking what I'm doing.
right.
Are you responding to all these comments? Are you like, are your followers just going crazy because now you have a
Yeah,
million
I
hits on this
mean,
song
shit. I probably jumped over 70,000 followers in a
in one night?
day. I mean, it was insane. Like, I genuinely, okay. I've had friends who want to start making music that'll come to me and they'll ask for advice, and I will say, dude, I couldn't tell you. I got lucky. That's all it is. You know,
Well, I'm going
I
to
got
ask you that at the
I
end.
got
So I
lucky.
hope, hopefully you'll have something to say. But yeah, dude, that's insane. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Um, wow. And then at this point, do you say, hey, to your friends, like you know, here's my stuff. Like when do you are you
So
able to, or when do you feel comfortable like talking about this project you have?
it's funny, the way it first started is I had a friend of mine send a screenshot of Bouquet on his For You page, and he said, "Hey man, is this is you, right?" And I was like, oh no. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And then another friend texted me the next day, and then they all start talking, and it just spreads, and then suddenly
Oh,
everyone
okay.
knows, and I'm going to hang out with friend groups, and it's all they're talking about, and I'm like, oh my god, this
Was that
is
cool or weird or like being you're probably obviously the talk of the school at that point, like, oh my gosh,
it,
like he has this viral song and
I've never been one to love being the center of attention, to be honest.
okay.
I didn't love it. I did not love it, especially, man, people got fake quick. I
Oh,
found out,
okay.
people, yeah, can I get your phone number? We can talk, we can be friends. And then I'd find out that they're going and like bragging to other people that me and them are friends now. And it's all this different thing. And
Oh,
when people post pictures with me, because I have a personal Instagram too, right? That's private and I only let my friends on.
uh-huh.
But it was little things like they would tag the big Instagram instead of the small one out of nowhere. And and I'm like, okay, I see how it is. I
Right,
got
they're
it.
like, do a
So
story with me.
my circle very quickly went from this and me being super extroverted and having a million friends to 5 friends that I trusted, and
Right.
and that was it. It was just my close group.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Yeah, I was thinking that like because it's crazy for me to even think about like how it is growing up with social media in school and like how ever it's beyond me because that wasn't something I grew up with at all when I was in high school. But I would just showing up at school if somebody went like viral, like because that's what everybody wants, right? Which is weird because when I was growing up, it was like if a band sold out, you weren't allowed to like them anymore. Now it's like people want to have that hit.
right.
But I can imagine kids being like wanting you to, share something of theirs or
Mm.
tag them in something just so they can build off of what you have
Yeah.
already created.
Yeah. You can't blame them, but at the time it
Sure.
kind
I
of
mean, but it's just wild.
yeah, it definitely it sucked a little bit. I mean, it's what a first world problem to be like, oh my god, suddenly,
You're like, God, I have all
but
these people following me and loving my music. Like, what a drag.
oh man, yeah, but it definitely it made me realize that things are a lot simpler if you just have a few friends that don't care. The people who stuck around are the ones who didn't change. They kept making fun of me. They kept,
Right.
they quite frankly didn't care, and
Mhm.
that's exactly
Or we're happy for
what I
you, but
wanted.
not to the sense of
Right.
like, but now I will expect, can you help me type thing.
Exactly. That's
It's
exactly what
just,
it
oh,
was.
I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you did that. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And
I'm so
then
happy
leave it
they
at
did
that.
that. And then we're not going to really talk about it again. I'm like, okay,
Right, 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 right.
awesome.
That's wild, man. Well, so then how do you bring these people over to your Spotify? Because you probably didn't have a Spotify account if
Mm,
you just put it up, like you're like, okay, I'm gonna see what
right.
happens if I throw this on TikTok.
Yeah. Let's see. The bouquet went viral in I want to say really early November or really late October of 2019. And then I released my first album in mid-December of 2019.
Okay.
Um, so really it came down to, oh man, I once again, I didn't know what I was doing at all. I had very little. I mean, I'd literally gotten social media for the first time like a couple years before. I'd never really like used it that much. Like I wasn't like seriously on social media all the time.
Hmm.
So I mean, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had no idea. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to keep fans. I knew nothing at all. So it was just little things where I would make a video and be like, "Hey guys, I'm working on this album. Stick around, please," type thing.
Oh, okay. So
Um,
you just go on there and kind of just say, hey, like, yeah, I'm working on stuff.
yeah, or I'd make a
You know,
video
check it
and
out.
of another poem, and I put in the caption, "Okay, this is gonna be on the album," type thing. And then it
Okay.
was just a matter, we pushed out the album as quick as we could. I mean, that first one, we literally made it in less than a month. Like the time between when we started the album and when we released it was less than a month.
Wow.
I mean, the recording process itself, we probably did everything in about a week's worth of time, most.
I
Um,
guess you'd want to, because if you people's interest goes like that, right? And then they're
mhm.
like, oh yeah, that was like cool like a month ago. Like I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was working at a burger place at the time. It's a really shitty job, horrible managers, coworkers kind of sucked. I mean, it was awful.
Okay.
Um, and I was talking with one of the nice coworkers in the back. I remember, and I was talking about, oh yeah, I'm releasing an album next week, blah blah blah. And they're like, oh awesome. They're like, you gonna like blow up? I was like, no. I was like, some people on TikTok liked it, but I was like,
You're like
real.
more than I already have. No, just
I was,
kidding.
I was like, realistically, I was like, it's been a month. The hype has died down. My videos are doing worse again. I'm back down to maybe 1,000 likes a video.
Mhm.
Um, I was like, I'm gonna be one of those artists where it says less than 1,000 monthly listeners underneath their name, and each of their songs have maybe a couple thousand streams. And I was like, that's what I'm gonna be. But I'm like, that's enough for me. I want some people to hear me. I was like,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I just want to get this off of my chest. I want to process these things that I'm talking about. I want to get it out there.
Mhm.
Um, so I had no expectations of transferring between platforms such as that.
Mhm.
Then I released it and essentially naturally got a million streams on the album on Spotify in the
That's
first
crazy.
in the first month. Um, and so, I mean, once again, it was just people wanted to hear it and people needed to hear it, and one thing led to another, and they listened. Um, which
That's
is
so
just,
cool.
I know, I still can't, I'm still in disbelief. I mean, it still feels like the first day that everything happened, and I'm just kind of like, what? Like, still to this
Yeah.
day, I still feel that it's unreal.
So once that happens, and now you've proven not only the song worked on TikTok, but now it's working on Spotify. At this point, our record labels and management and people like that kind of coming out of the woodworks, being like, "Oh, hey, what's this guy got going on?"
Not really. No.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. I'd always heard that and I was expecting it.
Hmm.
I didn't really get that. I still couldn't tell you why. I'm no music industry guru. I don't know much about the management or label. I mean, I've had a few labels approach with deals that I just wasn't a fan of. I've had a couple of managers approach where I just kind of shrug it off because I'm like, I can do most of this stuff myself.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of labels might hear my stuff and kind of just be like, this is weird. We can't mainstream this, let's move on.
I
Um,
see.
and
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know, unless a label deal was really good, I wouldn't take it.
I
Independent is
mean,
totally the
it's
way to
work.
go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're doing just fine on without it, right? Which is, yeah, that's so cool though. Wow. All right. Well, then talk to me about this new song that you just put out.
Mhm. It's called "Why Am I Not Better." It touches on a concept that I feel anyone who struggled with mental illness at any point can heavily relate to.
Hmm.
It essentially is, I mean, it's very straightforward listening to the title. It is asking the question, why am I not better yet? And I wrote it in a very dark place a few months ago, um, where I was looking back on my mental health journey over the last 2 years as I've discovered things about myself and realized, oh man, like I'm not okay type thing. Um, I was looking back at it all in a kind of dark moment, and I was thinking to myself, dude, why am I not okay yet? Why is my mental health not better? I've been going to therapy for 2 years. I mean, I've been making music to process this stuff. I've been doing everything I can. I've been, taking cold showers, getting plenty of sleep, meditating, going on walks, doing everything I can to try to improve my mental health. And nothing is working. I'm still in the same spot that I was 2 years ago. So frustrated. And throughout this whole evening, just the question, why am I not better, just kept ringing around my head until finally I was like, well, I'll do what I know how to do. So I sat down and I typed out in my phone, I typed out, why am I not better? I just kind of sat there and I looked at it for a little bit, and then it just started to flow as it does. That's how I write. Whenever I'm intensely feeling. I don't think I've ever taken more than 20 minutes to write a song.
Wow.
It's all in the moment. If I'm feeling something, I just get this overwhelming urge to just sit down and just write. And I can't explain it. It just is how I process.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything's from the heart that I write. And so I sat down, and I mean, it just came, and I'm like, God, it's been so many years. And then it just kept going. And so, yeah, I tried in the production stage to really capture the haunting feeling of realizing that things aren't improving. It's a very hopeless feeling. It sucks. And so I really tried to make the song encapsulate that, and really tried to make it communicate that fact. And I think it does it pretty well. I think it's a stab in the heart. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a harsh awakening. Um, yeah, it's a powerful piece.
For sure.
Yeah.
And was this something else that you had written or recorded, I should say, with your dad at your house?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Literally right behind that wall is where
That's
the
so
little
cool.
setup is. And yeah, he was actually the one that thought of the idea of adding in the vocal effect in the
Oh,
song
really?
at
Okay.
the and I'm forgetting how to sleep, and there's this kind of
Mm-hmm.
warped, darkened thing, and the concept is essentially almost this. It's almost like a Jekyll Hyde thing,
Right,
where
right.
during the really dark lines where I'm talking about really dark things, like eating disorders or self-harm or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like this other side of me comes out, and that's kind of the part that I'm questioning, and I'm wondering, why am I not better from this? And so it kind of creates that cool dynamic, that back and forth.
Mm-hmm. No, it's such a cool song. All your songs are rad. It's just such a different way.
Mhm.
Like I just can't like put like you said. It's presented in such a cool way that I haven't heard
Yeah,
any
thank
or
you.
really many artists do. It's
I appreciate
yeah,
that.
I love it. And I mean, so from now, like you said that you're just doing this full. Are you able to do this full time now with the success of the songs?
I'm super, super lucky to be able to do that. I mean, I really can't express to you at the end of the day, like, it's just it's so incredible. One of the questions I get sometimes is people are like, what does it feel like? What did it feel like to go viral, and what does it feel like to be able to make songs like this? And I'm like, dude, I just can't describe it. It's incredible. I'm so lucky that everything just fell into place.
Mhm.
I count my blessings every day. That I am able to do this full time. I mean, uh, the fact that I get to process and express my emotions as a job and help other people do the same is just, it's such a gift that has been given to me. That's the I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, I earned this, I deserve this. I put in, I put in the work, I got the reward. um it was just something where, people related to it, and that is the only reason that I'm, here able to talk to you, that I'm able to make music, is because people connected with me and they listened and they felt understood. And it's a beautiful thing that I'm that I'm able to do
Yeah,
this, man.
yeah,
It's
definitely. Well, being a senior in high school and this all happened, like, what was the plan? Is say you wouldn't have ever got the courage to put that song up on TikTok,
mhm.
and this didn't happen the way it did. What were you? What was the plan, or were you even thinking of pursuing music?
Dude, I couldn't tell you. I was not thinking of pursuing music. I wasn't at all. Just because it was both something I was embarrassed of,
Hmm.
and it was, something that I didn't think with what I was writing people would ever want to hear. I didn't have a plan. I mean, I was in such a low place. I didn't even realize how low I was at the time. I thought I was doing just fine, but once I started allowing myself to feel and process, I mean, I realized I was in a horrible mental state.
Sure.
I mean, I had very little vision for my future. I knew I wanted to. I wanted to do motivational speaking. That's the only
Oh,
thing that I
okay.
had going for me. And
Hmm.
I knew I wanted to do something around emotions because that was still something I was passionate about. I didn't realize how passionate I was about it, but I was like, yeah, I want to do like mental health awareness. Um,
Well, you're kind of doing. I mean, you're obviously doing that now, so
right,
it
exactly.
worked out
It
in just a
worked out.
totally different
Yeah.
way.
But
That's
I mean,
super
at the
interesting.
time, it was just, I was just going day to day, working at the burger shop, going to
Hmm.
school, just trying to get by. Really,
Right,
I
right.
wasn't thinking too long term. I was kind of just surviving, honestly,
Hmm.
at the time.
No, for sure. Well, congratulations, man. I love
Thank
what you're
you.
doing, and that's such a cool story. I have one more quick question. I know you said you don't know how to give advice, but I would love to hear if what piece you could, hand to somebody, uh, an aspiring artist, what advice you'd give to
Right
them.
on. Um, okay, two pieces of advice. Uh, the first one is going to seem really simple. The first one is to just start. Just start. Whatever it is, if there's a project, if you're an artist who hasn't even began to record yet, if you just have a vision, don't fall into the trap of once I get this, I'll be able to do this. Don't, that's a trap and it will leave you stuck for years at a time. Just start. That's all it is. 90% of success comes from starting. That's starting and sticking with it. There are a million times I could have quit. There were a million reasons for me to not even start, but I kind of just threw caution to the wind and decided this is something that I want to do. This is something I'm passionate about. Fuck it. I'm just going to do it.
I
That at
love
the end
that.
of the day is the number one thing for any creative. No, there is not going to be a special moment. There is not going to be a change in the direction of the wind. You just got to do it. Um, and the second thing, if you are passionate about something, uh, don't let anyone take it away from you. Don't let anyone stop you. Um, I have had my very fair share of hate, uh, many comments and DMs of people telling me that I didn't make real music, that since I wasn't singing, I sounded horrible. This is, you're just trying to appeal to the female gender by being in tune with your emotions. I mean, anything you can think of, I've had thrown at me. I've had real life friends talk behind my back about how they think it's embarrassing, how they think my music sucks, et cetera, et cetera. All of those I could have taken to heart, and I could have thrown the music in the garbage and moved on to something that other people approved of more. Um, but if I did that, um, I wouldn't have had, I mean, countless incredible opportunities. I wouldn't have met incredible people. I wouldn't be where I am today. That's for sure. And so, if there's something you're passionate about, something you love, dude, don't listen to anybody. That's, I mean, that is the other biggest thing. Don't listen to anybody. Don't try not to take advice. Don't take my advice. Do your own thing. Genuinely, just like don't listen to anybody. Just do your thing. Start, go, run with it. That's all you can do.